Welcome to Liberated Sisters right here at Mars Media Studios. We're streaming live on marsmedialive.com as well as my Facebook page, Charlene Muhammad. In today's show, we have the Liberated Sisters Justice Report. Our guests are publishers and authors, Sister Mariam K. Muhammad, right out of Mosque Mariam in Chicago, Illinois, and Sister Audrey Muhammad, author of Virtue Magazine. She publishes Virtue Magazine and she has several books including How to Achieve Goals. And so Sister Audrey will be joining us soon by Skype, but right now on phone we have Sister Mariam. We want her to stay right here with us because coming up next is our Liberated Sisters Justice Report. Today's Justice Report is taken right out of our great Final Call newspaper. Shout out to our editor-in-chief, Brother Richard Muhammad. Congratulations to the Final Call, Brian Crawford, contributing writer, Brother Richard, for our win at the NNPA, the Black Newspaper Publishers Conference, recently held. Thank you so much to everyone at the Final Call. So in this Justice Report, we're going to be speaking about tensions that are rising high in Chicago after a fatal police shooting. So what I'm gathering is that there's a 37-year-old beloved black barber he was shot by police there, and the community is demanding answers right away. Protests ensued. Last week's Final Call cover story is called Shut 'Em Down. The protesters took to the freeway and just closed that out. What we're hearing is that there's a freeze frame video released by police. It showed that the barber, Harith Augustus, confronted by officers. He was apparently armed in a city that allows for legal carrying of concealed weapons. According to the Final Call, the video shows him breaking away from officers. This was in the South Shore community. Officials say the video shows a weapon and that the barber, Brother Harith Augustus, was going for his weapon while he was running away. This prompted a rookie officer to draw his weapon and fire. But not everyone, according to the Final Call, is convinced that video shows the full story. They want the unedited video, not tampered with, right? That shows the full story, and they want the sound from that camera. So this video shows no sound. And also, one thing the Final Call points out is that police said the victim could legally carry a weapon but did not have a concealed weapons permit. So jibber jabber is what we're hearing here. So lastly, before we go into the first topic of our show, angry residents clashed with the cops. That was after the Saturday shooting. They marched to a nearby police station following the July 14th shooting. This tragedy was on a major street in that South Shore neighborhood. The Final Call is stating that police released the video within 24 hours of the shooting. That's unheard of. I mean, it's happening a little bit more commonly, but only after the amount of pressure, as we see from the Final Call, that was put down by the people after this shooting, because they're not going to be releasing videos, but the people brought the pressure. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson had hoped the video would bring some calm. and fewer fights between residents and cops, and end bottle throwing at police officers. Residents countered that they were responding to police aggression. So this is by Sister Tariqa Shakir Muhammad. Thank you so much, Sister Tariqa, for that. This is but one of many stories demanding justice in the Final Call newspaper. You can read more at finalcall.com. I want to say before we wrap that on page 20 is an interview with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, our publisher of the Final Call newspaper, with V103 Chicago Speaks host Daryl Denard. Lucky Daryl Denard got to interview Minister Farrakhan. That's our Liberated Sisters Justice Report, finalcall.com for more on that. Again, I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad, and this is our book report. So let's welcome now Sister Mariam K. Muhammad. Sister Mariam, Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. I'm sorry, I had my phone muted.
It's not a problem, not a problem. Thank you for being with us today. Congratulations on your book release and your book tour, sister. The book looks great. Why I Am Enough. Thank you for penning that.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be for Allah. I am so excited and nervous at the same time.
I could see it in all the posts. I love how you are sharing the feedback. I love the pictures of the sisters reading the book. Tell us, and everyone, Sister Audrey of Virtue Magazine will be joining us via Skype. But right now, Sister Mariam, tell us, why did you decide to write this book, and how did you come about the title?
Pretty much from what I was seeing and witnessing in the community,
Mm-hmm.
of how the mental condition of our black women in the community, and how we don't understand, and in some cases we don't believe that we are enough because we've been told we're not enough.
Yeah.
We've been told so many negative things that we're starting to express them because we've accepted it. So I wanted to produce something that can help the healing process for God's women, because of course, as you know, that's my line. That's what I do. Healing.
That's right.
So in any avenue possible, I want to make sure that I am fulfilling my destiny and being obedient to my calling.
That's right. And you are. And this comes out of, first of all, I don't want to say this comes out of, but the work that precedes your book, Why I Am Enough, is Heal Thy Life magazine, as well as the conference of the same name, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Which came first, the conference or the magazine? It was the magazine.
The magazine. That's something. I had to think about it, because at first I thought it was the conference.
You're doing a lot.
Right. It was the magazine.
A lot of great
things.
We
started doing the retreat.
Yeah,
right.
the retreat. Yeah, you're doing a lot of great things. Well, I'm sorry, everyone. I jumped into the magazine and the retreat, but I really want to stay with the book a little bit, right? So, Sister Mariam, what are some things that you delve into with the book? Is it your life story, or it's your testimony and also those of others you've interviewed?
It actually is a combination of what I've witnessed my mother go through, what I've gone through personally, what I witnessed my grandmother go through, and just a little bit of having conversations with women in the community. But this particular book is more personal. There's parts of it that I found that I still cannot read without crying.
Wow.
So it is a personal testimony, and also what I've witnessed from more so my mom, my grandmother, and a couple of settings in the community, but 90% is myself, my mother, and my grandmother.
So this was a healing for you?
Absolutely. It absolutely was. The funny thing is I'm in the process of writing part 2. And I've noticed the difference in the experiences of the writing. So part 2 is more so, I feel Allah using me more for other people's emotions and things that they've gone through, versus this one is more personal. I can relate with it more, but I'm getting feedback that women are telling me that I've spoken to their souls.
Oh, wow.
So it's a testimony to never think that you're alone in what you're going through. everybody, somebody out there has gone through a similar situation. Nobody is alone with their circumstances.
Yeah. Someone has walked before and can guide you. Sister Audrey is ready to join us on Skype, and so she'll be coming soon. Sister Audrey, we can't wait to talk to you as well and see you. Sister Mariam, how long was the process in getting it done? Why I Am Enough?
Probably 3 months.
That's
I'll say
it?
3 months top. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. I had writer's block maybe for about 4 months. But once I realized that I'm not a chapter book writer,
come on,
and I started writing how I speak, it just came out.
Really?
It flowed from there. Yeah, it really flowed.
Break that down, a chapter book writer versus writing how you speak. Give us some more of that picture. I'm enjoying this.
So, chapter book writer, you have the stories for the particular chapters.
Yeah.
That's not me. Like, I've noticed, I probably can write a book like that, just one chapter, though, not various chapters.
Yeah.
But what I realized with this one is I'm an inspirational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more so quotes of upliftment, empowerment, something you can just turn to at the moment of need and read just a couple of sentences, and that can help heal you in that process.
Yeah.
So it definitely was a healing for me as well, and I think that's probably what assisted me in writing even faster, because I loved feeling that way.
Yeah.
So I stayed committed to it.
Yeah, because you were getting it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. How's the feedback been?
Oh, my God. It's been so beautiful. It's been unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's been a humbling experience, because I'm still like, at all. Like, okay, this is not really happening.
Mm-hmm.
This is not me. These people are talking about somebody else.
Yeah.
Because when I wrote it, I went through the who's going to read my book.
Oh, wow.
So
come on.
now with people saying, I want your book, it's unrealistic. It's like, I know that Allah is involved. It's not me. It's definitely him. This is his product, not mine.
Yeah. Oh, wow. When you said who's going to read my book, you touched a nerve there. You really hit on something that is familiar to me. I'm inspired by you and your completion of it and going into part 2, because I've been encouraged to write my own. I announced that it's coming soon, pumps on the ground, but I still am in that who's going to read my book mindset, Mariam. What is that? Where do we get that from?
I really think it's we have to build that esteem within us. You know what I'm saying? You have to build that self-esteem. And especially if you grow up and live in a life where people didn't really acknowledge things that you've done. I grew up always being like an outcast. I felt like I was really never accepted by my family.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up like that, it creates a mindset that you feel you're not good enough because somebody else was always considered to be like your standard, and it was never you. That's a life that I lived. I was never the standard. I was always beneath it. I was people would look at me and I'm the embarrassment, or I was never the one put out front like here's someone you should be like.
Yeah.
So to be living that moment now in my life, I think that's one of the reasons why it's so unrealistic, because I'm not accustomed to that.
Wow, that's something, and I can understand what you're saying. It's interesting. I have, again, I experienced that same who would want to read my book sentiment, but that feeling, but it comes from a place of I'm the baby of 8, right? A twin sister that died a couple of days after birth. So I was just like, the visual picture I give people is I'm just on this pillow, and even up to now, sometimes I feel that way. It's like my nickname was Peasy from being premature and had to really do nothing for myself. Everything done for me, given everything. As a matter of fact, some of the sisters that I was with yesterday at our children's graduation at MUI here was saying, you were spoiled. And I'm like, no, not spoiled. Love, sheltered. But at the end of the day, it was not unattended to. It was just, she's okay. She got everything she needs. Everything's done. And I just didn't aspire to anything because I never thought I had to. I was just like, well, it's there. Whatever I wanted and needed was there. And so I never thought about it that way. But it's I think, a couple of different dynamics, but the same intersection, right? Who would read it? But we have a testimony, we have a testimony.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, sis, I'm listening.
I think I was more so the rebel. I was more so the rebellious one. Everything you told me I wasn't going to do, I'm going to show you, yes, I am going to do it.
We were opposite. I was scared to breathe. Mariam, I was scared to breathe. Look, my mom got no trouble. My mom and dad, if my dad spoke loud, I would be crushed. And he wouldn't even have to be talking to me, right? Just talking to siblings. I would faint. But anyway, go ahead. Oh, Sister Audrey.
No, I was. I promise you, I was. I was the rebel. I was the. You're not going to tell me what to do. That was me. I'm like, I can't even lie about that. That was me. But I think that it paid off for me because it allowed me to set a standard for myself. Yeah. So even though I was treated one way, that rebelliousness inside of me, or maybe stubbornness, or just willing to not accept the norm from what people wanted to tell me, I think because I had that within me, it really put me to where I am today, to be able to step out and to be able to lead. And, and to be able to accept what the standard that I set up for myself.
All for a great
really
reason.
Be worried about what other people say.
Yeah, absolutely, Sister Mariam. I can understand that, all for a reason. I've seen you in action, not just in terms of our sisterhood and what we do internally, but the external work that is necessary and dire among our young women, our sisters, ourselves. I've seen you, and when you talk about the things that you've been through and how you came through, it just touches. It's so plain, and you've walked it. It's genuine and it's sincere. We're going to continue on some more, and let's bring in Sister Audrey to join this dialogue. Sister Audrey, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam. I'm great. Thank you for being with us. How are you?
Fine. Praise be to Allah.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. Sister Audrey is the publisher of Virtue Magazine and also How to Set Worthy Goals. Sister Audrey, many others. Sisters, what is it? Get Fit to Live. Oh, my God. This sister, just like Mariam, is doing a lot of great things. Sister Audrey, now, you've been publishing Virtue Magazine, and of course, Sister Mariam is on the line. You two dialogue together. You don't need to wait for me to say something. Help yourselves. It's your show.
Yes, ma'am.
So, hey, Sister Audrey. We're gonna get Mariam Skype. I want them to see you, Mariam.
I look forward to getting Sister Mariam's book. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
I actually. Yes, ma'am. I actually told my daughter when she was at the training in Chicago, I said, see if you can find her book. I want this book. And I sent her a screenshot, but she said she didn't see it. But I do plan to order it.
Probably was sold out.
Well,
Audrey,
Virtue...
Wait. I'm sorry, Sister Audrey. As you continue, congratulations to and about Hassana. I saw the post. That was very good. Congratulations to your daughter. Her daughter is succeeding very well in school and in her community leadership endeavors. Hey,
Thank
Hassana.
you. Thank you. Well, I mean, she grew up with Virtue on the coffee table.
That's right.
And
in Virtue.
And in Virtue. Yeah, you can see her grow up in Virtue because she started off modeling. In Virtue. And first, let me say assalamu alaikum to your listeners, and thank you so much, Sister Charlene, for having me on.
Yes,
Virtue, has been an inspiration to a lot of sisters. And, the minister recently, this was when he was in Charleston, told me, as he was flipping through one of the issues, he said, it's a very valuable, what you're doing is very valuable, uplifting the woman.
That's
and
right.
Encouraging me to continue doing that and showcasing. And I know years ago he said, if you don't like the image that you see of yourself in the media,
that's right,
change it.
That's right.
And we have the power to change it, especially with social media now. We can put whatever image we want to put of ourselves up there. I chose to focus on the beautiful images of Black men and women and highlight that, because they're not highlighting that in Cosmopolitan and Glamour magazine. Where can our designers be seen? So over the past 15 years, being able to showcase sisters that design and sew, sisters that have businesses, people who have written books. Hopefully we'll be able to put Sister Mariam up there soon.
That's right.
But it's a valuable tool. I grew up loving magazines. I love magazines. So to have my own and to have it uplift women has been very rewarding.
I think it's a beautiful thing, and we've been getting some very special editions as of the last few years as well. And and Sister Audrey, you are publishing the last edition of one of the very special ones right now. Not the last edition of Virtue, but the last edition, the latest edition of the one featuring the Farrakhan family. That one is a special limited
so that
edition.
one is available on sale, the last couple issues. So if you didn't get that copy, the last couple issues are available on sale at www.virtuetodaymag.com. Has a beautiful article written by Sister Maria Farrakhan, who discussed growing up with the Farrakhan family. It has, of course, wonderful fashions, a beautiful interview with Brother Nuri, Student Minister Nuri, and his wife. So that is still available while supplies last.
Yeah, I'd say run and get it. Sister Audrey, Sister Mariam, were you going to say something?
No, I was just saying, absolutely, go get it.
Run. Yeah, I just posted that on Facebook. I sure did. That's a beautiful cover. Sister Audrey, Sister Mariam, what has been the greatest challenges for you both in terms of your book authoring your books, writing your books, as well as publishing your magazines? We'll start with Mariam.
My greatest challenge? That's a good question, because to be honest, I don't feel like I really had a great challenge. What I believe is when I began to be obedient to my calling, Allah started to open up doors, and it wasn't hard. It honestly wasn't, and I started to learn how to do things myself. So I didn't go through a lot of disappointment or letdown of people not coming through, or you didn't show up with this, or you didn't. So I would honestly say, I think that with my book, I did realize I think self-publishing is better. I will say that. My publishing experience in the beginning started off smooth, but then now I'm not too pleased with it. So I will say I think that if you can self-publish, I think that's the best route to go, especially if you're on a time frame and a budget, you would want to self-publish. But outside of that, Allah really blessed me to have I'm having a smooth, unbelievable ride.
Wow. Alhamdulillah, sister. All praise is due to Allah. Mariam, you're dropping nuggets, right? You need to do a book writing seminar, because that first thing you said about being obedient, I have to tell you all, this show, I usually joke about how the shows, Allah put them together. And I tell the listeners and the viewers, they're not, if you all get something, okay, great. I'm glad, because you really should. But this is for me. And the words, just the simple tools that you're dropping, absolutely. You said when you decided to be obedient, and then you didn't have a lot of waiting and disappointment of people not showing up. That's one of the things that I have to admit I'm stuck in, or had been stuck in. Just like thinking I needed a team of people, right? Or the people that had initially encouraged the writing now have vanished, and so it had been stagnant, and I picked it up again. But just paying attention to that, even with the two radio shows and this one now internet, I call it internet TV, but it's a podcast, begging, looking, searching for producers, even motivating people to write. Like the editor-in-chief has a call out to write for the great final call, and people are responding, but he said it's mostly the sisters. I'm saying all that to say that it's perhaps not for anybody else to do. I'm bringing it back to what you inspired me with when you said obedience, Sister Mariam. I'm looking for all these producers, all this team, all this help. Man, who's been doing it all this time, right? And it has really been the God, and I just have to continue to fall back on that. But thanks for sharing that, because you said that big O, obedience. Because this is a ministry. We're talking about ministries here.
It is. He'll bring you who you need. And that's a part of being obedient. You don't have to look for the help. Allah will bring it to you. Everybody who I've been blessed with. Wow. I have to say Allah brought them. Allah definitely brought them. The experience has been beautiful. But when I start looking, I'm like, okay, yeah, Allah is showing me, ma'am, you are not in control. I told you I got this.
Yeah. Do what you're doing. Sister Audrey, before you respond, Sister Audrey, I want to tell you, Kevin Muhammad on Facebook said, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Queens, for positive images of our people. Thank you for tuning in, Kevin Muhammad. Sandra Gabriel says, message is real. Sister Audrey, she posted that earlier when you were speaking about changing the images, if we don't like what we're seeing. Yeah, but what about you, Sister Audrey? I mean, I remember when we did Minister Farrakhan, Sister Maria, Sister Carmen Abdullah, Maria Farrakhan, that is, coordinated, and we had the Louis Farrakhan Prostate Cancer Foundation, the first walk, and the launch of the foundation. I remember we had a Pioneers Flowers While You Live dinner. Remember that? I was just being so inspired, and I was sitting there saying, oh, my God, we need to be writing more about this. And the final call is National Weekly, and it's 40 pages, and there's only so much space. And I had scripted out this whole idea for a magazine on napkins, right? On the dinner napkins. And I tucked it in my bag, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. And the next morning, I was in the vending area before the walk started. The Louis Farrakhan Prostate Cancer Foundation walk started, and your brother said, get your magazine, Queen, get your magazine. And I just sat there, and I was really awe-inspired, and I kept telling my husband, this is it. This is the vision. And I was really so proud, Sister Audrey. Really, that it was right there, like, boom. So you can answer the question. I just had to give my little shout out on that.
Yes, ma'am. I think that I'm an educator. I've been an educator for the past 20 years, writing, teaching high school. Now I teach college, so my desire has always been to write and to uplift and to inspire. The challenge is understanding more about business, and educating myself about business. Just as Sister Mariam mentioned, learning how to do some things yourself. And Allah will put some of those people, he has the power to move people, circumstances, and things to bring into fruition what he wants. And that's what has happened over the past 15 years, that sometimes I didn't know how I was going to publish it. I was, doing things out of pocket, but always someone coming through. But the importance of us understanding the science of business. So I've always had a place in the magazine to highlight the V-list, highlight businesses in the community, because that's the activity. We can't have a nation without also having an avenue to promote our products and so on and so forth, because no one else is going to do it. Yeah. And so I made that a part of the magazine, as well as always something dealing with, really it's patterned after the final call, with a little bit about how to eat to live, fitness, all of those things. We, for the past 15 years, have had an article about the minister in it. So, the challenge of understanding more about business, learning how to do that, not limiting myself, but also being open to growing, embracing technology instead of like, I just want to do it the old way, but embracing technology is wonderful.
I don't even know what the old way is. I looked at when I first started writing for the final call, and I'm saying, how did I get anything in? Long days and nights at Kinko's, fax here, email there, but it's swift now, which goes back to what you were saying, Sister Mariam, about the ability to self-publish. You talked about it being smooth, and then I think not being pleased with it, or something happening toward the end. What changed?
The ability to meet the demand of my printing. And I'm like, now, I haven't even gotten to the status of printing books like that, like large quantities. So I'm like, even just at my demand, not really, the turnover should not take 4 to 6 weeks for me to get my book. That's ridiculous.
I see.
I just looked into a company that said they can do it in 48 hours.
Whoa.
So I'm trying to figure out why the 4 to 6 weeks. So I just, I meditated on it. I prayed to the God, and I'm like, guide me in the direction I need to go in. That's actually when I came across the company that will do it in 48 hours. And I'm like, okay, Allah, I see you. And so I know my next book will be self-published, and thank Allah, the company that I found online will actually reprint my book for me, because a lot of companies won't do it once you publish it. You're like in a contract with a printing company.
Oh, wow.
But I'm in a contract with the publisher, not the printing company.
Yeah.
So that allows me now some wiggle room to be able to print my book somewhere else.
Smart. Good. I'll be calling you, Marianne. Pay attention, book connoisseurs.
Yes.
That is really good. See, all of these themes society makes seem so out of reach, but let's just talk about the origin of these black books, this whole era. What's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the Nation of Islam? All of the books by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then this black consciousness just started. I want to give a shout out to Sister Saida, who's in Mosque number 7. I remember she was expecting, she and her husband, and she was posting about her beautiful journey, and then the next thing you know, boom, she had a beautiful book and is doing very well with it.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. What can you say to people who are on the fence that have a testimony that they want to share? Like future Liberated Sisters book report guests, that they may have the manuscript right there, but are stuck in some way. Can you all give them a word of advice on how to birth that book?
I will personally, I would say, move out on faith. I would definitely say walk out on faith, and don't think nobody out there needs what you have. I just helped a sister in the process of publishing her book, and she just got her book in the mail the other day, and it's a workbook, and it's called The Gift of Pain. And she's really going through her divorce is what developed the book. And I'm like, do you know how many women out here need that? They need a workbook that will help you heal. It literally takes you through steps.
A workbook.
And it helps you through your healing process.
Wow.
And, she was very hesitant because she was like, who's going to need that? Don't let that the enemy of self stop the God of self from delivering what our people need.
Come on.
So we have to be able to remove that lower self, remove that second voice, and listen to that first voice.
Yeah.
We have to understand doubt is an enemy of God, so we got to remove that doubt.
Yeah.
Move out on what you know that burning desire inside of you is, and don't worry about what if or what will happen. Just know Allah will deliver as long as you just be obedient.
There's that big old word again. Sister Mariam, I'm going to need her on the book report, so I will be calling you after the show, texting, whatever we got to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Sister Audrey, how about yourself?
Yes, ma'am. I totally agree to walk out on faith, to get started writing, doing something. Sometimes, the idea of a book, even for me, the idea for a book was overwhelming. I had always wanted to write a book, but being a magazine person, short and sweet articles, it's in there.
Right.
And so my first book was actually Get Fit to Live.
That's right. Was
a series of my final call articles. So by the time I gathered them together, I was like, this is over 100, pages of the final call. And so if it feels overwhelming, start blogging, doing something to get it going. So once you're on that, on the runway, to take off, you got to pick up speed. And that's one way, doing something to get going and to talk to other authors, just as Sister Marianne, talk to other people who have published. And that feeds us. That motivates us.
Yeah.
I mean, I get motivated from excellence, when other people are sharing their stories, and it bears witness to what she says, do we know how many people are inspired by hearing other people's stories? There's always someone. We're all connected. We can all learn from one another. And so I totally agree that we just need to put the story out there. And even, you just never know how many people you will touch. And also that it does help with us. It helps with us to kind of walk through those steps and, be able to teach others, how to do it, because we are building a nation. We need to know how to do this.
Yeah. Wow. Right. That is so great. What was the most joyous moment for each of you once you had these babies, and multiple, not just one? Mariam has put out several issues of Heal Thy Life. Sister Audrey has written several, and of course, Virtue. Oh my God, right? So what was the most joyous moment?
I would say with the book, I would say when I received it in the mail, I looked at it, and it was smaller than I expected. So my first thought was, this is not my baby.
Preemie. A preemie.
Right. And I had a conversation with Imam Sultan Rahman, and he said to me, he said, what did you do after that? And I told him, I said, I'm always striving to be obedient. So I went to the God, and I'm like, is this your baby? Like, what is this in my hand?
Yeah.
And the thought I received was, it's the perfect size for a woman to put in her purse and carry it with her wherever she goes, because she's going to always need to just pull it out.
Come on.
And I was like, then it is my baby.
Wow.
And when I was talking to Imam Sultan Rahman about it, he told me, we write our history in advance. It's not just the scientists. We do it. He said, you just wrote your history in advance, and it was delivered to you in your hands. Wow. That, for me, was a very joyful moment. Because I was like, you talking about not just being obedient, but now actually doing an act that is a characteristic of a scientist.
Come on.
That is really proven that I am a God.
Yes.
I'm like, for me, that was on a whole different level.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever felt so much emotion at that one moment in my life.
Come on.
Because I've been blessed to have a lot of accomplishments, but I didn't always compare it to what our teachings are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this book, for me, was that movement. It was to show me that, yes, we are God. Yes, everything we read in the Supreme Wisdom, this is who we are.
Yeah.
But we have to be able to know that, so we exercise it and become masters in it.
Oh, wow.
So everything I do now, I'm writing my history in advance. I don't care if it's what I'm going to do the next day. You're writing your history in advance, one, because the scientists couldn't see where we are now.
Yeah.
So we are actually really writing our history in advance.
Yeah.
So I keep that in my mindset, so I keep that as a continuous pleasure moment, so I'm constantly reaping joy from just the product of the book.
Yeah. Mariam, you about to make me cry. One thing I thought about, and we're coming, I can't wait to hear yours, Sister Audrey. One thing I thought about, I was going to take a front, like just a solid picture of the book cover, because it's really great, right? But I used the picture on the flyer of the open box, because when I saw that, I got a feeling of joy, like, woo, a rush came through me, because I was picturing you opening the box, right? I didn't know that testimony, but also, and we're not spooky, and I, like you said, looking at things that we're doing individually daily through the teachings, these are our teachings from the God. But I thought about, as you were speaking with Minister Farrakhan, when he talks to us about, the teaching that we're going to be giving our book. And I heard him say once, and if you both heard it, please elaborate on it. But if we're giving our book in the right hand, okay. But if we're giving our book in the left hand, whoa, right? Have you all remember that? I mean, I'm not quoting the minister, but he talked about that. And how did you get your book, in the right hand or the left? Although that's not the book. It's not a written book. It's in the mind, But I could see that, Mariam. So it's like pocket size. Look, Brother Jesse with the Twitter book very expressly made that a pocket size, so it's easy to go. Easy to keep. Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, Sister Audrey.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, It's like giving birth every year, you know, with
and you're
virtue.
pregnant all the time.
Right.
One thing that sticks out for me was I was at an event. I mean, of course, you know, when the minister wrote and, you know, said what he said, and I was at an event when with Sister Susan Taylor, the editor of Essence.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and she, you know, I've always admired her, grew up, you know, reading Essence, you know, magazine. And so my daughter and I, and there was a picture in one of the past issues of Virtue. So we ended up giving her a ride to the airport after this event. And I was talking to her and I was telling my daughter, I said, this is Susan Taylor, you know, the editor of Essence magazine. You know Essence magazine. And my daughter looked at her and she said, no, I only know Virtue. And it impacted me that she grew up with seeing Only Modest Dress. She grew up with seeing the minister in the magazine. This is the magazine on our table. And that's when it hit me how valuable for my daughter to say, that's what I grew up on, you know. And that was such a joyous moment. And I would say this past Savior's Day, like I said, every day, every year it's joy. But this Savior's Day, walking into class and just seeing the virtue on the screen, I was like, all praises due to Allah. It was just, you know, the women surrounding the Jesus, you know, it was just beautiful. So I'm forever grateful for any part being able to play. And I thank Sister National Captain Student Sandy for just the opportunity. So I would say those are highlights. For my book, the gold book that I wrote with my husband, we wrote that book on how to set worthy goals while we were courting. We were, you know, throwing ideas around. So that was a wonderful moment to have that published and to have my daughter, the cover I sent you, my daughter redesigned the cover and put both of us on the back. So that was a wonderful moment.
I think that is so beautiful, and I know it's a big, I know, right? Well, I walking in the Savior's Day and seeing that beautiful, like the perfect pink, the perfect embellishment, the perfect photograph, Sister Audrey. Oh my God, that one is in a nice place at home. You know, these are the stories. These are the women in Islam in honor of Mother Tainetta Muhammad, wife of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is what we're called to do. Show our works, uplift the women, reach out to our people. You know, this is some of the things that we're learning in our class. But some people do one thing well, but you all are doing many different things. And the results that you're getting are really to be commended. And I'm so glad to have you here on the book report. Sister Audrey, this is your first time, I think, on Liberated Sisters here, this dispensation, but you've been with us on KPFK before. In past years, and I think even under Some of Us Are Brave. And Sister Mariam, you're a returning guest, and I want you to keep coming back. I'm looking forward to the day when you're sitting here in the studio, both of you, right? As a matter of fact, Liberated Sisters is going to do more traveling and broadcasting from around the country. So who knows, maybe at our next national convention, we'll have that realized. But saying all of that to say this question, what is in store for you both? Like, what can we look forward to coming up in the next few days, weeks, months, years? In addition to, I know, Mariam, you already talked about your writing book too. What else can we look forward to? Oh, and my God, the last retreat. Tell us about it. Okay, wait. Scrap the other question right now. Tell us about this year's retreat. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We had a ball.
I know y'all did. I couldn't make it.
You know how the retreats go. And we did. I saw a lot in this year's retreat in regards to being obedient. I actually had shared with a sister telling her that this year's retreat wasn't what I expected. And not in a good way. I mean, like, this was probably the first retreat. It was the smallest. This one was definitely the smallest.
Yes, ma'am.
And, but I told her, I said, because I was not obedient to the voice. Because last year, when I had the retreat, the very first thing, after the retreat, the feeling that I received was to move the retreat, not to have it in Chicago again. And I didn't listen. And I saw what it is like not to be obedient to the voice. So immediately I said, after this one, I said, you know what? I'm going to move it. I'm going to be obedient.
Yes, ma'am.
And as soon as I did, I talked to Captain LaShonda in Atlanta, and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to move it to Atlanta. And she was like, oh, I'm calling in the region. And I'm like, I mean, like, the spirit just sparked and exploded. And I was like, okay, Allah, I'm sorry for not being obedient, but you taught me a lesson, and I'm not one to have to go through the same trial twice.
Yeah. I get it. I
like, I learned, and I moved on. But it was still a beautiful retreat, and we saw in it, again, the type of healing that women need. It opened up doors for the book tour, even now getting... I would say getting attention now from the Delta sorority, which my major goal is to be outside of the Nation of Islam. I understand that my mission is not inside. The minister told me I have a lot to do. And in part of that is Allah is pushing me outside of the Nation of Islam for his women out there, because as the minister said, the women inside already have the teachings. Don't waste your time there.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know that part of my destiny and part of my calling, being a connection to my grandmother, is being out in the community and now going into the churches. And Atlanta actually is a city. Allah has opened the door in the churches for me.
Wow.
So I'm paying attention to where Allah is guiding me.
Yes.
And so I would definitely say the retreat, yes, it was. In one way, I was like, okay, man, I bombed. And then in another way, I was like, well, no, you didn't.
No.
It still opened doors. It still provided healing. You may not have reached the goal that you desired. However, I reached the goal that Allah desired for me.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm good with that. Like, okay, I'm not, I thank Allah.
Yeah.
I love him and trust him so much that I'm not the kind to go and go into depression. I immediately go to him and ask, well, where am I to go now? What am I to do? What should I have learned from that? What is it that you're showing me so that I don't repeat that again? And so, and then to go into, of course, your next question in regards to where I'm going from here. Of course, the book tour. Tomorrow I leave for Atlanta. I'll be in Atlanta for about a week. When I come back, I go to Detroit, Flint, Michigan, then D.C., St. Louis. So there's a line of cities that actually have requested to bring me in, and I'm like, praise be to Allah for that. Yeah. Because my book is only $10, so it ain't like I'm becoming a millionaire. So,
that's right. That's right.
But I will say, I priced it that way because the minister said, do the work, the money will come.
That's right.
I do nothing. Nothing I do is money first. Nothing. As Allah is my witness, nothing. Not even the retreats, because the retreats are so low. I don't do anything money first. I allow Allah to bring me what he desires for me to have, and that's my heaven at once.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So next year, inshallah, the retreat will be in Atlanta. We're scheduling it for the first weekend in May to bring in Ramadan with the sisters. So we've already started planning that one. Like, we got so much to plan for it. I'm so excited. I'm like, why does it have to be so far away? But,
that's around the corner, girl.
That's true. It'll be, after Saturday, everything flies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pretty much that's where I am, the book tour and the retreat. And then, of course, before the year's out, we'll have another issue of the magazine.
Wonderful. Big applause. I wish I had a sound applause little button here to go, Good job, and congratulations. And let me just say on the retreat, I wasn't able to make it this year. I was a little bummed out, but duty called. But if I know, and there's numbers and there's different things we definitely have to see, but I know that the sisters there were fed. because I can't even express enough what it gave me. Like, it set me on a path. It lit me back up. I'm like, oh, girl, get up. Get up. You know, like somebody said, get up. Stop all of this. And it's really beautiful, just the attention and care. And it's really serene. The environment is really beautiful, but the bonding and also being able to get and give is nothing like it. So if you can ever go to the retreat for Heal Thy Life, please treat yourself and go. Take your daughter. There's a young squad there that's off the chain. Thank you, Sister Mariam. Sister Audrey.
Yes, ma'am. Just a few things in the future. I would like to, I'm working on a anniversary book of virtue that kind of gives the history of every single issue of virtue, that you will be able to see every single cover of virtue. It's so funny. My sister, who is actually on the cover of the first issue of Virtue, a lot of people have never even seen the first cover. That was back in California.
That's right.
But you will be able to see, it will be a wonderful souvenir that will be, anyone would have access to. You would be able to see every single cover ever produced. All the interviews I did with Mother Tynetta, which were just wonderful. I will put the full ones in there. Yeah. And a couple other surprises I plan to have in there. So that's something I'm working on to celebrate 15 years. So it won't be a magazine. It will be a book that just covers the history of virtue. And then I've been promoting my nursery rhyme book. Yeah. So the nursery rhyme book at libraries, a TV show, I'll wait until that comes out. I had asked about the nursery rhyme book that has Martin Had a Little Dream, Elijah Be Humble, Elijah Be Quick. So busy promoting that online. And then the last thing is just continuing to promote the goals book for people to reach their goals. It's something that I teach my students every year. Set a goal. What type of grade do you want in this class? So that's just something that I think that, you know, the minister years ago on the inspirational tape, he said, why haven't we conquered the country already? You know what our problem is? We don't have a worthy goal. You know, so everyone who has gotten the book, immediately they're like, I couldn't put it down because I started writing in it. Because it has pages in there for you to write down your goals, but giving us steps. And sometimes all it takes is a good word to get you moving. Yeah. And so when my students were achieving goals, and you know, I talked to my husband, who was my court mate at the time, about goals, and these are steps that I've used just for small goals and for larger goals, that it's something that we can all benefit from. So those two books, the Goal book is available on Amazon, as well as the Nursery Rhyme book, and then, of course, working on the Virtue book.
Thank you, Sister Audrey. Wow. Ooh, Mariam, that's going to be nice, huh? I can see it, all the different covers.
God, I love that.
Yeah, I posted the website on the Facebook post. People are tuning in. We got some shares going on with it, too. One of the things, oh, my God, don't leave question. Stay here, question. My question blew out. It was a question after something you said, Sister Audrey. It'll come back to me. But we have a few minutes, and whoever's closing out first, I'm going to jump in when the question comes back, because it's coming back. But let's go with Sister Mariam. You know, if you want to, please give some closing remarks and give us any other information that you want people to have.
I would definitely say you can follow us on social media at HTLC19. The website, HTLC19.com, routes you to our regular Heal Thy Life website. And we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I don't really tweet as much anymore. I do more Instagram and Facebook than anything. And you'll definitely be able to follow us, upcoming events, what cities we'll be coming to. And, of course, you can purchase the book online at HTLC19.com. And then we'll be posting within the next 2 to 3 weeks the information for the retreat for next year and how you can register. So that's what I would say. And I would definitely say that outside of everything, always know that as Allah's woman, as God's woman, you are enough. Period.
That's right. You are enough. Right. Oh, my God. Thank you, Sister Audrey.
Yes, ma'am. I would just leave with these words that of the minister, that he said, there's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. And we need to make up our mind, whatever goal it is, make up our mind, continue to feed our mind good food, as it says in our lessons, about why does he fear now? And he's a big man because he was taught the wrong food, given the wrong food ever since he was a baby. Yeah. And so the nursery rhyme book helps to feed our children good food while they're babies. And we have to, anything that we want for our children, for our community, it's up to us to develop that, because we do have the skill and the talent to do that. So please, I'm also on Facebook as well as Twitter, growing in Instagram again. But Virtue Today Mag is the website where you can get all the books. It's a website. My daughter, who's a 16-year-old senior, she developed the website. She organizes that. So please visit us when you get a chance.
Good job, Hassana. Sisters, stay right there. We're not done with the show. We're going to hear a word from our sponsor right now. Doctor, I want you to stay right there, Sister Audrey, Sister Mariam. Don't go. Dr. Akil Bashir and his critically acclaimed Community Violence Certification Training and Developmental Institute, PCITI International, at PCITI.net. Here's a clip from their documentary film, License to Operate.
Make no doubt about it, this was a civil war.
The streets is just sucking up our youth.
It's sad.
There's only one thing I was able to give my son, and that was a headstone.
Gang crime is completely out of control.
The LAPD had thrown their hands up and they didn't know what to do.
We had to come up with something we had never seen before. And that was forming a collaboration with some of the most violent and evil rivals in the streets of Los Angeles.
We supposed to be the elite peacekeeping team.
If we're going to grow this thing, we all got to do this thing together.
All the leaves of brown.
A person that has a license to operate is a liaison between rival gangs and law enforcement.
It's front lines, man. It's crazy out here. You gotta watch your back.
Did we turn our community into a war zone like this? If we don't change our kids in our communities, no one will. Most people don't give a damn.
You can stop those wars because people listen to you.
They were from that community. They were the most valuable players.
They have been there in the middle of the night after we've had a shooting.
You be safe, brother.
You learn the most from the teacher that demands the most from you. So I'm going to push you because I know it's inside of you.
When I was growing up, I didn't have nobody to help me. That's what I'm trying to do with you now.
You're going to meet kids. You're going to lose kids.
Check your mirror. Put your seatbelt on. Go ahead and make a right turn.
In 1992, we had 1,300 murders. 3 years, we've had under 300.
People depend on us.
So it's 1,000 kids out there that's walking around that I can say, yo.
LA be the model for other parts of the world. I really believe that.
The one thing I would like someone to say about me when that time comes is that I was man enough to stand up for change.
Somebody help me.
We are one team. We are one team.
Wow. I love that. I love that promo. Everybody there?
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, Dr. Akil Bashir, for your support. Liberated Sisters is very grateful. Sisters, my last question to you before we wrap up in the next few minutes is, what could you say to our young women and girls, or our women and girls out there who are struggling on any level to express themselves, to find themselves, to be themselves in this society where we're really taking a beating as black women. Sister Audrey and then Sister Mariam.
Yes, ma'am. So this will be my last comment. I'll quote from an artist I interviewed some years ago, and she said that expression is the opposite of depression. And when we as women, we're natural teachers, nurturers, when we don't get an opportunity or take that opportunity to express ourselves, expressing our talents, expressing, giving a good word, we get depressed, you know, and when we're not utilizing that. So I would just tell sisters to find a way, set a goal, find a way to express those things that you want to express, and do the things that bring you joy. You know, I'm a teacher, a writer. Also, money has, or else I'll be in some other field. But it's always been about, you know, what can I do to be of service to my students, to help out sisters, to uplift. So I would just say continue working on a goal, expressing yourself, and building that relationship with the Creator, because He is our source of strength. And He has the power, like I said, to move people, circumstances, and things to bring Him to fruition what His will is.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Sister Mariam, y'all teaching.
I would definitely, I love what Sister Audrey said.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say, you know, I love taking young girls back to the womb, back to the experience, regardless of what religion you fall up under, but back to the experience that your Creator took His time out of the love that He has for you to fashion, mold, and shape you to be very unique. You're not like any other. And regardless of what people have said to us, maybe a man has touched you in a different way or in a way you wasn't welcoming. If your father's not in your life, no matter what the circumstances may be, we have to understand that our Creator is the one who sits in the seat of all of those. He is the Father. So we have to know that our reverence is there. We are a gift to this world. We extend life. No human life can come on this planet but through a female. So we have to know the type of vessel that we are. But most importantly, in order for us, for our young girls to even know how to enter this journey, us as women, the older generation, have to become an example to grab their hands and love on them so that they can see what love feels like and learn how to love themselves. So it's a work on various levels, because these young girls out here need a real role model. They need somebody they actually can trust, somebody who they know you're not just here because you're getting grant money and now you here just to get a check. No, you actually love me. So we have to be responsible to help heal these babies, because they don't know how to heal themselves. But what I will say is I've learned that they know there's an internal healing there. They know that presence is there. They just need to be guided and how to touch it. Because every time I talk to them, they're like, oh, so that's why I be feeling like that. So that's what that is. So they can relate, but they relate with the purity of your will wanting to help them.
Thank you.
So we got to pick up the cross, and we just got to do the work. We got to go to work.
Go to work. Thank you so much.
That's right.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's our show for today. Thank you for your support again, Dr. Akil Bashir and Community Violence Certification Training and Developmental Institute. Thank you, Sister Mariam K. Muhammad, Audrey Muhammad, Brother LaRon, our engineer, and Felicia, the poetess Morris and Morris Media Studios. Thank you, Sister Sheena, on deck as well. Subscribe to The Final Call at finalcall.com. View Minister Farrakhan's full lecture at NOI.org. You may follow him on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and visit lctwmusic.com to order his box set, Let's Change the World. Catch Liberated Sisters this Friday at 8 a.m. on Radio Justice LA, radiojustice.org, and July 28th on 90.7 FM, KPFK, kpfk.org. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad saying if it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.